많은 기대를 받고 있던 T1, BLG에게 패배하며 탈락 위기에 놓였습니다. 월드 챔피언 탑라이너 도란과 그에 도전하는 929.
BLG에게 패배하면서 저희의 부족함을 또 느낄 수 있었던 것 같고 앞으로의 경기를 더 섬세하게 준비할 수 있는데 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 일단 아직 MSI가 이제 시작이라고 생각하고 남은 경기들은 좀 분발해서 좀 좋은 모습 보여드리고 싶습니다.
골리앗 T1과 맞붙는 퓨리아. 과연 이들은 희망을 이어갈 수 있을까요?
He's gonna get knocked down and solo killed by Gigo.
I think the key to beating the Orange is kind of lure him into the bad plays that he wants to do. Just let him play the game to just make himself do a mistake. So I think that's one way to break T1's connection.
버서커와 바이퍼, LCK에서 커리어를 시작했던 두 바텀 라이너 한국으로 돌아와 대전 무대에서 격돌합니다.
제가 뭐 어릴 때는 이제 바이퍼 이제 선생님 영상을 보면서 공부도 많이 하고 배운 점도 많지만 지금의 저는 충분히 바이퍼 선생님을 이길 수 있다고 생각을 해서
Berserker played out of his mind.
하지만 선생님의 가르침은 아직 끝나지 않았습니다.
버서커 선수에게 우선 여기까지 오느라 되게 고생하셨고 그렇지만 BLG 만나게 돼서 유감이고 저희가 이기겠습니다.
BLG have just bought too much grace through this early game.
서로 다른 길을 걷게 될 두 선수. 이제 고향 땅에서 마침내 마주하게 됩니다.
일단 제가 작년에 LCK에서 떴을 때 그렇게 좋은 모습을 보여주지 못했다고 생각을 하고 있는데 근데 이제 지금도 그렇게 생각하고 계신다면 후회하게 되실 것 같습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MSI 2026. It's time for another day of double best of 5 international League of Legends competition. Later today, an elimination match between Furia and T1. But before we get there, it's time for BLG and LYON to face off. Both won their opening matches, and now it's time to see who is going to emerge triumphant here. I know a lot of people are predicting BLG in this one. A powerful team, an international competitor that's always making those deep runs, it feels like. And LYON are going to have a hell of a battle in front of them. I'm Captain Flowers, joined by Dhokla for this best of 5 as the teams take the stage.
Yeah, both teams coming off the back of hard-fought series. Despite LYON getting the 3-0, Game 1 and Game 2, they definitely had to work for that victory. And BLG just coming off the back of that T1 victory, they are going to be making sure they want to stamp their dominance here at MSI 26.
Absolutely. It's what the analysts were talking about at the top of the day. If LYON want to stand a chance, they're really going to have to show us a more refined form. They're going to have to show us them at their best compared to what we saw in those opening Furia games where things were real scary for a long time.
But we did get to see a little bit of that adaptation coming through from LYON, right? Like, we got to see the LeeSin coming through for Inspired, where he's way more active in the early stages, wanting to try and play for this, like, covering topside for Dhokla. And I think that's where we'll see a similar story coming in today of Inspired trying to be more active to match Shen in the early stages.
All right, let's see what we get. I am excited to see what the drafts look like. In particular, I want to see what LYON can do to match the power of the BLG solo lane, specifically Finn and Knight in that series against T1. You're talking about going up against the team, the organization that has the most world championships by a country mile, and BLG taking them to 5 games. So much history between those two teams. BLG emerged triumphant after 5, and so much of it was because of Finn and Knight.
Yeah, and I think that's where my curiosity in the draft kind of stands, because we saw Isles not look very comfortable on the Camille. So you now putting bans in towards that as LYON, because that then opens up more for Finn and Knight in those solo lanes. So that could definitely unleash the power of what has been the biggest strength of BLG over the course of their domestic split. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is, because yeah, it is a tall task for LYON going up against one of the tournament favorites.
All right, let's do it. We're into draft for the first time here. BLG chose the blue side. LYON chose second pick. So they want to make sure that they're getting that final counter pick here. I respect that sort of approach, looking particularly, I'm hoping, for a counter pick in one of the solo lanes. Let's see how it shakes out. Jungle focus from BLG, Nocturne and Vi, their first two bans here in this one, while LYON are going to get rid of the Poppy, while also removing that menacing mage bot laner in the Ziggs.
Yeah, it feels like to me BLG are basically saying, look, we want to try and remove moments for Inspired to be active in the early game. Get rid of the Nocturne, who's strong on those invades early, Vi, who's very good on those ganks early, and maybe even a LeeSin ban might be tossed in here as well, based on his performance the other day, but we'll have to see. Whereas on the other side, yeah, LYON still trying to focus a little bit more on getting rid of the Ziggs, getting rid of those AP carries in the bot lane, but we know the Viper kind of has a few in the back pocket now after bringing out the Vel'Koz the other day.
Exactly. The Orianna here going to be the final ban in phase 1 from BLG, wanting to keep that one away from Saint. And Saint and Dhokla, I think, both had a bit of a struggle of a series up against Furia. These guys have had some high highs, they've had some low lows domestically back in North America, and I feel like all the North American fans watching now really want to see them play at their best, play at that higher level, because anything less will simply not be acceptable against Knight and Bin.
Yeah, well, Knight might get his hands on the Ryze here with Cassiopeia and the Aurea ban. Maybe they're trying to bait it though, and Nivea is still left open if you want to try and take that for Saint. But Ryze incredibly strong at the moment. But looks like Bin just going to go towards the Jayce here. And traditionally we've seen that Jayce more focused when we have like the Ziggs in the bot lane. You can go for this poke style. But with Ezreal still up and available, maybe BLG want to try and go back towards that style they played in game 1 versus T1.
And I feel like, though, for BLG, this is also such an extra threat because this is a team that has so many options in draft, right? They have deep champion pools. They have flexible champion pools. The Jayce can still go to either one of the solo lanes. It's scary stuff.
Yeah, we've seen it domestically where they're happy to put that Jayce towards Knight as well, but it's even just a flexible playstyle as well. Like, we've traditionally looked at them as, you know, unlock on, play for solo lanes. Last day, they got Shen on carry, and we're like, wait, we're just going to play for this Kindred, right? It feels like everyone on this team can step up to carry, but there's that LeeSin that we were talking about. So LYON feels like coming in with this plan already of, right, we're going to be proactive in the early stage. We're going to have Inspired trying to interact on the map, as it's the KSante that's locked in the top line.
Okay, so we've got Lee playmaking early on. You mentioned how the Vi and the Nocturne, those are bans from BLG to try to slow down Inspired early, but LeeSin obviously capable of making tons of plays. KSante to try to answer potentially. I'm expecting into that Jayce, expecting it to go towards Bin, just be able to survive the lane, endure that onslaught that can be so oppressive for so many matchups.
Yeah, I fully agree. Looks like with the Ryze taken though, I'm curious what the answer for Saint is going to be. Like, do you end up going back towards something like that in Nivea, or do you try and go for something a little bit different? Because we haven't seen it brought out a huge amount. He does have 2 games on it, and we've also seen things like the Galio as an option here, which could support something like the LeeSin in that mid lane, with the taunt, with the setup that you have. But on, the Camille was left open, and he is going to be very happy to get his hands on that one.
This pick has been so strong so far in this tournament. A couple of exceptions to that, though. Isles was one of them. His Camille definitely didn't feel up to par with the other Camille performances we've seen in the tournament. So that one going to go over to On, but the response from LYON is the Shen.
And I like it. I mean, if you just can't hit people as the Camille, that kind of gets 2 thumbs up, and looks like that's the game plan. And that was the curiosity for me coming into this, was what's the answer if the Camille is let through? Well, it seems Oz has been practicing that Shen to make sure you've got the Spirit's Refuge, you've got access to that ultimate level 6 as well to try and cover if he's not able to keep pace with On, which honestly very few supports in the world are able to do. So already, like, I love this. LYON have come in with a game plan.
And now both sides still have AD carries yet to pick. So we'll see the Ezreal banned out on the LYON side here in the second half of the draft. Syndra going to be banned away by BLG. You're keeping that away from Saint, but you're also critically keeping it open for Knight later on in the series, since you already have the Jayce and the Ryze. You know that that solo laner is already locked in for Knight, no matter how they want to allocate that. And Knight Syndra is so well known, you're like, I don't want you to take that away from him early
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
so let's just go ahead and leave that open for future games. Skarner banned out by LYON.
So still putting a little bit of focus towards the jungle there for Shen, and I think that makes sense, right? And basically what you have is a composition online that wants to get up close and personal, and you have what I imagine is going to be poke coming through from BLG to work alongside this Jayce. So getting rid of champions that once you dive in, we get a lot of value in this sort of situation. So curious to see what the rest of the game plans are going to be for Shen, but yeah, line. There it is, the anti-ban, going to be the last one.
Taking their time on that one, but yeah, removing the anti, so double mid lane bans from BLG here in the second half of the draft. I'm expecting LYON to, well, I'm actually curious what they're going to do here, because they already know what the solo lane matchups are. You wanted to go for last pick in the draft as the LYON side.
Yeah, the biggest problem is, like, the answers for Ryze kind of low damage for a large portion of the game. Like, I was going to say the Galio and kind of the Anivia in the early stages, so instead they're just going to go for the Taliyah, still have that Weaver's Wall to try and match that side lane pressure and hopefully cut off some of the retreat angles for BLG. But we were talking about that long range poke, well, the Mel left open, and this has become just such a staple combo at MSI.
This champion has lost one game so far. I believe she is currently at a 6 of 7 win rate in this tournament. We'll see here as soon as I'm expecting it to be locked in on the BLG side. Yes, 6 wins, 1 loss. This champ is so powerful on this patch, and seeing that locked in with that Camille combo like you're talking about, this is scary stuff coming from BLG.
Yeah, just the question of, I was going to say what the jungle is. You want something that can be aggressive and link up with this Camille in the early stages. So Zinzao, the Jarvan, also a good answer here, especially when you already know that Taliyah relatively immobile. The only thing is that Unraveled Earth can cause you some issues on trying to find the engage tool. So we'll have to see what if he is locking in, it is. Okay. So there you go. Like, decent poke with the Mel and the Jayce, try and play from range, and then once you do get up close and personal, you can get value from the Ryze, from this Camille as well, being able to lock people up. So BLG going to be wanting to get very aggressive in the early stages and once again play around their solo lanes like we expect.
Yeah, that range power, man, you already said it, but with Mel and Jayce together, that can create such a dire dance around objectives if LYON isn't ready. And the final pick of the draft here for LYON will be the Tristana for Berserker.
Okay, so they're going to fight fire with fire in that bottom lane, basically saying, look, Mel has range, but if we just jump on her head, there's not much she can really do. So immediately, we're going to have some attention down towards this bottom side. And again, we talked about LYON have this game plan coming in. You get the LeeSin early in the draft, gives you the opportunity to try and play aggressive. You go for that weak side for Dhokla, and it's all going to be about trying to get Berserker ahead in this bottom lane.
And I was reading some reflections from Dhokla after their series against Furia, and even he was saying, yeah, we weren't playing super coordinated, we weren't playing our best. If we keep playing like this, we're gonna have a fast ticket home, even though they won that first series against Furia. So as someone from North America, I'm glad to see that LYON is also perceiving that first series as, yeah, it was a win, but it wasn't a win that you're going and you're writing home about how you're so proud of it. It's one that they got it, but they know that there's a lot to improve on, and I hope that they have improved since that matchup against Furia, because BLG, you mentioned it at the start of the draft, one of the tournament favorites, many people predicting either them or HLE to be the team to beat here at this competition. And considering BLG already took down T1 in that best of 5, they have proved that they are certainly not to be underestimated.
Yeah, and I'm curious now to see how this bot lane is going to go, because we have a bunch of first-timers coming in with both the Mel as the first time for Viper and Isle's first time in that Shen. So there's some questions on both sides. We'll have to see who can try and get the better of each as BLG immediately start to step forward when to spot it where Inspired is.
Global power rankings up there at the top. BLG ranked at number 1, LYON ranked at number 16. So bit of a gap between those metrics. BLG with Knight and Bin in particular. I know I've been talking about these guys, but man, I can't stop talking about these guys. These are 2 of the best solo laners in the world. A lot of people currently ranking Knight as the best mid laner, the best individual performing player in pro in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to when he's coming in with an average of nearly 7 kills from the domestic region to MSI. Like, this guy has been absolutely insane. So I think that's where a huge amount of the focus has been. And even he had some stellar performances up against T1 as well, where he's able to get that early lead. So We'll have to see is, Isles.
Oh, that was an early flash back from Viper. Isles trying to get aggro at level 1 here in the 2v2. Yes, he gets the Summoner spell out of Viper, also on spending the Ignite, but it does cost Isles his heal too, and he now also losing a big chunk of HP for the attempted play.
Yeah, immediately though, alarm bells should be ringing for Inspired. Like, this now becomes a focus for you. Try and get on towards Viper, abuse the fact that that flash is down. You can see Berserker and Lions, knowing they have the level 2, already stepping up, especially when you can see they've just spotted the Jarvan on the Raptors. He'll be moving towards that top end and should open up that space for you.
All right, Berserker and Isles. Okay, staying safe enough for now. The Solar Snare forces the taunt defensively out of Isles, so Viper and On take the opportunity to step forward now, knowing there's not the engage opportunity there present for the Lion support, as Inspired is here in the topside river, jumps over the wall of the Grub Pit and might just make a stop up here in the top side looking for Bin. Dhokla finds the knock up there with the third in Tofo strike, but he misses the Pathmaker for the follow-up CC. Inspired's made his way into the fight now. Bin trying to figure some sort of a move out here. Inspired needs a little bit more damage though. Bin getting away for now, but no sir. First blood over to Inspired.
That's what I'm talking about for Inspired. Getting active in the early stage, but they interrupt On.
Now down in the bottom lane. Yeah, we got some trouble here for Isles. 150 HP left. On also very low. Isles dies first. On dies second. He tries to flash to get away from it, but it ain't gonna work. Viper down to 200 HP as Berserker is still firing. Another Solar Snare lands, and it's a double kill back over to Viper. He guns Berserker down.
BLG's bot lane just undo some of the work Inspired did. 2 kills to Viper in the early stages, and you've seen what this Mel can do with an early lead. And at the start, it looks reasonably good. You get the level 3, you interrupt the dash from On, but Viper focuses the wave, gets his own level 3 for the bot lane, and then as you work forward, it's a late exhaust on towards Viper, who is just waiting for cooldowns now to come back up, and it's as Berserker steps forward, there's just enough damage in the kit to take him down.
Yeah, Viper having that burst right there at the end, getting the cooldown back for the Radiant Volley. Berserker's already trapped in Solar Snare, nowhere to go. Inspired now trying to secure his own blue buff, but BLG has other plans. It's an invade coming out from Shen and On. These two pieces of the BLG chessboard that so often are roaming together, making plays, facilitating the carries to get fed, to get to the point where they can just slam their opponents with that skill that we've seen them demonstrate so many times. They won't be able to steal the blue buff away this time, so LYON can at least keep their resources to themselves for now.
And that's why it's so terrifying seeing Viper get these early kills, because the game plan is unlock On, get him on the map and try and play towards these solo lanes. Well, with those 2 kills, it now becomes significantly more difficult to not just have Viper push you off of waves, clear out every sort of wave that's stacking on that bottom side.
Yeah.
So now you have to figure out a new plan, and even Shen getting into that bottom lane to cover for a potential gank on the bottom side, like as he was threatening that blue buff, like you can see BLG want to try and protect the sanctity of this bottom lane now.
Yeah, when the bottom lane mage gets fed, it means 2 things. It means, 1, you're also going to be, hold on, Isles goes back in for the taunt, as now LYON is going to full send it here with the 2v2. On very low, the explosive charge about to detonate. Berserker jumps in and he's already found the first kill. Viper under pressure. Berserker bloodthirsty, and he shuts down Viper. It's a 2-0 in the bottom lane for LYON.
It's a 3-1 Tristana. Line take a bit of a beating on the first bout, but they didn't hear no bell. Immediately going back in and getting the 2 kills for themselves. Massive turnaround. And you can see how it started. Like, On saw that he had the setup with Viper. Isles does a good job of body blocking, and immediately Berserker jumps onto him knowing all the cooldowns are gone. Viper can't do anything to block it, and they get the turnaround.
Okay, back to live though. Knight making a play up here into the top side. Dhokla under pressure. Isles coming in looking to save his top laner, but he can't quite do it. Isles with the taunt underneath the turret. Shen trying to flash away, but the turret is heated up. LYON making a 1-for-1. And Saint and Inspired have arrived. BLG still plenty of health on the remaining 3 players here. It doesn't look like LYON will be able to force anything else, but a great roam from Isles to make that an even trade.
You say maybe nothing else, just interrupting the back on there. Isles still trying to interrupt here as well. So as you say, like, you get the assist onto Dhokla, which keeps him within touching distance of Bin. When it comes towards that gold, when it comes towards the experience, you're able to set him up, and you get the turnaround kill as well. So nicely done by LYON, and this is what we wanted to see, because think about what the talking points for LYON were coming out of LCS. It was, this is a slow pace, they're glacial, they're not really going to play in the early stages. Man, we're at 8 kills in 6 minutes.
Yeah, this is a very fast pace, specifically for LYON, like you're talking about. Berserker also being 3-1 now on this Tristana. We talked about how, yeah, if Mel's fed, she's just going to be able to clear waves. It frees up Shen and On to go elsewhere, to play around Knight and Bin. But if Berserker is this massive point of pressure that can just force take turrets and create problems, well now, BLG just might have some of those problems of their own to have to solve. Still no focus on neutral objectives here early, but I can kind of understand that. I feel like if you're LYON, you're trying to make plays, catch these guys off guard, make the game really scrappy. And if you're BLG, this is a team that also likes to play for gold instead of focusing on those early objectives.
Yeah, and I think as well, they've also managed to do this while keeping Oz out on the map, right? Or sorry, in lane to get experience. So he's about to tick over to level 5. Once the Shen ult comes online at level 6, that ability to try and play for that gold that you're talking about becomes significantly more difficult. But Inspired here, trying to help out Dhokla.
Yeah, Dhokla trying to get a setup here onto Bin. Inspired still waiting over the wall. You can ward hop over the wall and then try to get a Dragon's Rage angle onto Bin, but it would have required setup from Dhokla, which is what he was looking for, but couldn't quite find. You mentioned the Stand United, but there's also Saints Weaver's Wall. There is a lot of cross-map play potential here for the LYON side after Isles hits that level 6 that you're talking about. And I feel like if LYON wants to win this one, that's something that they're going to have to use to catch BLG off guard.
Yeah, especially as BLG go for a play, if you can bring the numbers advantage there, especially as you talk about the mobility of not only the Weaver's Wall, but the LeeSin as well. Very quick to get to some of these fights, so we'll have to see what the plan is, because 3 members of BLG on this top side, and Dhokla trying to step away.
Yep, Bin jumps in immediately to the skies, but Dhokla tries to turn it around here a little bit. Shen has already showed up, Inspired nearby. Hook shot over the wall coming in from On. Dhokla tries to go all out, but it ain't gonna work. Inspired staying alive for now. Dragon's Rage back through 3. Lands another Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike to follow it up. Berserker is here. Shen continues retreating. On trying to get enough space here for himself. Has the explosive charge on his head, but disengages in time. It's a +1 for BLG.
Yeah, LYON tried to get that reset and move up towards that top side with the swap, but unfortunately, that little bit too late. BLG managing to make that play happen and get away as well. Does mean it will be the Void Grubs going across to Inspired, but BLG happy, as you say, to get that gold.
I feel like if you're LYON, you're at least happy to deny the Void Grubs to BLG since they're playing with a Ryze and a Jayce, 2 champions that love to kind of just move in this 1-3-1 type of style, with Mel spamming Radiant Volleys on waves to just clear that out in wherever LYON might be focusing. So keeping the Grubs away should hopefully slow down some of that turret-taking potential with the split-pushing strategy. LYON still up by a little bit of gold, and honestly, especially comparing this to the performance that we saw in those first couple of games against Furia, I feel like LYON seem much more cohesive, much more coherent in this opening game.
Well, much more cognizant as well of what BLG are trying to achieve, right? Like, they are going for the lane swap. They're just a little bit too late, right? And it's constantly thinking of where is Shen going to be? How can we try and cover for some of these invades? This is where it does get a little dicey. Isles on his own here.
Yeah, he's about to face check. Nope, drops the ward in instead. Good move there from Isles. Does not get caught unaware by the Camille and Jarvan camping in the brush. They still do have the control ward there in the banana brush, so they will maintain vision over this area, secure the Scuttle Crab in the bottom side for themselves as well on BLG.
It might even be more, because with Berserker now starting to steadily open up that lead, 800 gold, he has that Hex Optics completed, first item on the map. That gives you that moment to push in on this bottom side, maybe look for Dragon as well. Now, LeeSin has moved towards this top side as Inspired's camps are spawning there, so maybe another minute before they get there, but I expect that's where LYON are going to try and put that next point of pressure.
They've got to be able to protect this Tristana. Hex Optics already done. Combine that with how, as long as he's farming, as long as he's leveling up, you're continuing to get the range through the passive. The Trist could become the hyper carry that they need. And during the regular season in North America, myself and a lot of other people saw Berserker as far and away the best AD carry in the region. This is a guy that you can trust him to have his hands in the right place. The team just has to make sure that they are protecting him, that they are getting him there. Isles on the defense with that Spirit's Refuge, like we've been seeing in some of those early bottom lane 2v2s. The Shen will need to be locked in to make sure that BLG can't take Berserker out before the fight starts.
But I mean, look at the amount of vision that they have invested to do just that, right? Like, when you look at it on the map, you have this ward here to spot anyone's coming in to River. You've got both wards across here to set it up. You got a pink up top. You got another one here. Like, LYON have basically got all their bases covered to make sure that they can spot out exactly where BLG are trying to interact on the map. And that lets you kind of set up for, let's move the Taliyah into position with the Weaver's Wall. Let's get ready with that Shen ultimate and make it difficult for you to play it. Even Inspired is sitting in this bot lane. They want to make a play on Viper if he steps up.
See if they get the opportunity. Isles clearing out some vision as On can't quite stop him. Important to note, you mentioned it earlier, Isles level 6 now with the Stand United. On still only about 25% of the way to his own level 6 on the Camille, so no Hex Tech Ultimatum available on that one. And Inspired and Berserker, as soon as they place that control ward, they are going to see that the plan is exposed. Shen here in the mid lane. Nope, not going to get the chance to make a move on Saint. He backs up in time.
Yeah, and that's kind of what everyone has been doing online, just stepping away, making sure you're not giving that moment. Like, every time that wave is cleared out on bot side, Berserker has been stepping back towards his tower, and it is making it difficult for BLG to try and make these plays. So I think for BLG, that's where their new frustration point is. Like, how can we try and get that push to move Knight across, to try and have, as you can see here, Viper and On step up into this position. But again, like, those first items have started to come through across the board, but BLG just feel like they have that moment on the map. And Line, not going to contest. Tristana has swapped up towards the top side. They're looking for turret plates for her instead.
Exactly. It's a late first Drake. It's not like you're going to be playing around some 22-minute potential Dragon Soul, even if they stack everything up. So first Drake does go over to BLG. No contest, as you say. LYON trying to overload the top side here. As the response, Dhokla going to step forward with that third Intofo strike primed. It means that Bin has to walk all the way back. Accelerated Shock Blast also blocked by the KSante, who does have his Iceborne Gauntlet fully completed, gives Berserker some firing time onto the tier 1 turret. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, it is On and Viper getting the wave shoved up themselves. Viper will, of course, get a little bit of time with these turret plates. There is a difference, though, in Mel taking turrets versus Triss taking turrets. Yeah. It's not quite an even battle. Yeah. And you can see Dhokla and Berserker putting in the work up here, and that is first turret, 12 minutes and 45 seconds into the game for LYON.
Yeah, and again, I think this is what you want to try and be doing as Line, right? Like, moving people around the map, making sure you're able to use the advantages. But hold on, Saint has been caught in the mid lane.
Yeah, Saint caught in the Hex Tech Ultimatum, but now his team's going to back him up. It's Isles and Inspire with a beautiful Dragon's Rage! Knight, take a knee! Saint stands tall here in the mid lane.
Lion are omnipresent this game, turning that play in the mid lane around, making sure they have to get the kill. On does find Isles, though, and I'm not entirely sure that On is alone here. Shun can move across. Oz realizes it. Just want to try and get some vision down.
Yeah, luckily, even though both of these supports are more like battle supports than something like a Lulu, it's still a tunneler versus a Kindle Gem. There's not a whole lot of lethality here in the itemization. Let's take another look at this attempted play, though, from BLG.
Yeah, again, you see Inspired kind of just hovering in this mid lane. Isles was there. They knew that the Shen was around, but the flash, On predicted this. Knight was not ready for that one. Gets caught by the taunt, and it's the kick back from Inspired that steps up beautifully there.
LYON coaching staff got to be happy with that one, being able to foil BLG's attempts, get one back on their own, getting some money into Saint's Taliyah. You can see he's got about 300 stacks towards evolving the Archangels into the Seraph's Embrace. First item on that one, wanting to make sure that he has the shield to be able to survive some of the dives, some of the plays from this Jarvan, from this Camille.
I think we're going to be looking at a dive on this bottom side now. Tristana moving down, Inspired there. Shen ult available.
Okay, Dhokla finds the third Intofo strike, but again, the Pathmaker not quite where he wants it. Goes for the all-out, but a nice flash away from Bin. Dhokla very low, has to flash back away. Dhokla stays alive thanks to Stand United. LYON spent 4 men to do it, but they get the play they're looking for.
On now, trying to keep Saint from being able to reconnect with this mid lane tower. Saint wants to try and clear out the wave and stop Viper from getting some of these plates, but might be a bit dangerous with Shun waiting in the wings. Should just be able to clear it.
Yep, he sidesteps the Solar Snare. If the Solar Snare would have hit him, then you have Shun over the wall, you have On ready to back it up. He's dead for sure. But avoiding that one means he can clear the wave out. Meanwhile, Knight is going to find the opportunity to shove waves, to grab plates up here in the top lane as Dhokla finally comes to answer him. But Berserker has already taken the second tower in bottom lane.
It's the Void Group Tristana you were talking about. Like, oh, hang on.
Oh, that blink and you'll miss it. Shun, On, and their backup in Viper, just absolutely smashing Isles as he walks a little bit too close to that brush, and the timing is beautiful for BLG. The Rift Herald has just spawned, and now this is going to be their opportunity to grab that objective, try to equalize some of these turret counts.
Oh, Inspired wanted the kick for the setup, but Bin transforming there, just getting the move speed to keep himself out of dangerous way. But Dhokla kind of needs to do the same as BLG. They have control on that top side, and they want this tower.
Yeah, Knight's going to take that third plate immediately. On trying to continue to supply the pressure here. Dhokla hits him with a third Intofo strike. Hex Tech Ultimatum to try to stay alive, but On! He's dizzy up there against Dhokla, who manages to grab himself a kill on the BLG support.
Look, Big Dokes doing wonders when it comes towards those dives, or people trying to get past this tier 1 tower on top side. Amazing stuff, getting the kill, shutting down the play, open up line now to make some moves towards the mid lane. There's some silliness coming in on BLG side here.
It's a cardinal sin in League of Legends, man. Disrespecting KSante underneath the turret. This champ has so many tools to make plays around turrets. You've got to give him the respect he deserves. Meanwhile, down here in the bottom lane, Bin is going to mine some money here from plate number 4. Takes that one out. There was some nice turret crust for the bonus damage, but Saint will show up in time to prevent Bin from taking the entire turret.
But there's more members of BLG here. Knight has already started to move down with Shen, and the Vision hasn't spotted them.
Oh, Isles could be in a little bit of trouble here. Does manage to disengage before Viper can show up, provide the necessary damage alongside On's lockdown, but the Rift Herald is summoned. Honestly, it's not even going to need to get the charge here onto this tier 1. We'll see if they try to pilot it somewhere else, try to still get some value out of this, or maybe it just ends up being a scary Shelly that forces LYON away so you can force the turret down yourselves.
Yeah, basically BLG trying to use that timing window that it would have taken the top lane wave to hit the tier 2 tower to overload that bottom lane and get the tower for themselves. As you say, not the best Rift Herald play in the world, but they do manage to get their moment. And will get the go down a little bit back in their favor. But it was 3 turret plates that were taken by Dhokla on the top side, and now it's the dragon fight that LYON are interested in.
Exactly. That first Drake already went to BLG 5 minutes ago. Now the second one has spawned. Dhokla already committing the empowered teleport to make sure that he shows up here. Did have the large shield to force BLG back. So this is just LYON. The same way that BLG secured Drake number 1 without any contest, LYON's going to do the same thing here on Drake number 2. LYON got the top lane tier 1 turret from their opponents. Now BLG's going to do the same thing as the Weaver's Wall is reflected by Rebuttal.
Yeah, I think it's an equilibrium triangle we're looking at.
Yeah,
I don't know if I got my geometry down.
We're doing some sort of math over here. There's some sine, cosine, tangent going on, but nobody ends up dying to anything. The game practically dead even in terms of gold right now, Dagda. This is a very close game 1.
Yeah, I think the main focus is kind of where that gold is, though, right? Because you can see a 1k gold lead for Berserker on that bottom lane, and this Tristana very much accelerated as yeah, it's an acute angle at least anyway. I know. It's been a while since I did the trigonometry, geometry stuff.
Always funny to see stuff like that get reflected by Mel. But, On stepping, okay, he steps up, but Isles goes ahead, completes the recall. You're talking about Berserker having that largest individual gold lead in the game. He's got the Infinity Edge. He's also got the Zeal in inventory. Berserker's Greaves completed, obviously, in the little boot slot, thanks to the quest. And you can see here on your Coinbase gold grind, Bin versus Dhokla, the contest up there in the top side. It is a slight advantage for Dhokla going up against one of the best top laners in the world.
And I think that speaks volumes to the way LYON have played around this top lane, right? Like, Dhokla did a good job individually to try and nullify the matchup, but we saw Inspired up there early to make sure that they could take out Bin, not let him get this early gold lead, and it has really kind of shut down what BLG wanted to do, but
oh, that's exactly what BLG wanted to do! They make their move. It's a 1-2 punch from On and Shun to set it up, and Viper knocks it down. The Fed Tristana eats dirt, and BLG are looking to snowball it into more. It's a 4-man death ball down mid lane. Isles goes in, finds the taunt flash, right back onto On. They need more damage, though, as he flies back in. Saint's already killed him. LYON making a 1-for-1. It's not an even trade because it's the Fed Trist for the support Camille, but it at least stops what BLG is trying to do.
And top lane tier 2 pressure for BLG as well, so they're getting quite a lot off the back of this. 2 plates for Bin. Starting to get him a little bit of gold lead as well. And this is what I was saying, like for BLG, they want to try and play through sides and then quickly overload one portion of the map with Knight, with these plays, especially when you've got that Hextech ultimatum. And unfortunately for Berserker, it took that one step too far forward and BLG punish.
And we're going to hit a pretty big power spike here for Knight specifically very, very soon. He has 2 stacks left to go on his Rod of Ages until that procs, and he just completed his Seraph's Embrace with an already fully stacked tier. So this is going to be a very, very strong Ryze. And back in North America, LYON is a team that even if they would fall behind early, you already mentioned how they play very slow. Yeah. That's true. Even if they fall behind early, they would find ways to out-team fight their opponents. There is, however, a difference between out-team fighting your opponents in North America and out team fighting BLG, and that will be the challenge for LYON to overcome.
It's also outplaying on the map on a champion like this. This is where his comfort is. Like, he was always known for plays like the Rakan. His Bard is probably the best Bard in the LPL right now, but when he's on the Camille, it's trying to find these little moments to find picks. He's so good at cheating the plays on the map, like getting in, getting vision before you even expect it, or being in a position that you aren't ready for. And this is where, when you have compositions like this, where Bin can get pushed in the side, where Knight's able to get control in the side lane with this 2-item spike. Now On gets to play for everywhere on the map.
Also, critical item in Viper's inventory, the Seeker's arm guard ready to go. Knight just hit 10 stacks on his Rod of Ages, so he gets the free level. That's going to put him almost an entire level ahead of Saint right now. I also like the Serpent's Fang, second item here on Inspired. There are a lot of shields on the enemy team to work through, so trying to cut down on some of that could be the difference between getting one of these kills and missing out. Next dragon going to spawn here in about 60 seconds. You can already see both sides. Lots of pings here, Dagda in the bottom side river.
Yeah, it's mostly about trying to fight for vision. You're getting some wards slightly past river for BLG, but that defensive pink line ward you're seeing on your screen right now, helping to clear that out and not actually giving too much information across. So the bottom side river is a bit dark for BLG, but they feel comfortable stepping up to take this mid lane tower.
Yep, that tier 1 is not long for this world. They will take it down. Destroyed by Viper there, and it's now BLG taking the lead in turrets for the first time this game. LYON did take the first one, back up there with the tier 1. BLG has been doing a good job keeping pace with them, but this is now finally the time where they leapfrog over and take the lead. 22 minutes into the game also means if we have a big team fight and something goes real crisscross, Baron is on the table.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a big team fight. As you say, Dragon just about to spawn, and this is kind of the value of Viper in this sort of situation. The wave clear on the Mel, she can do it solo, whereas for Berserker, he needs that support because we just saw if On is able to make the play what happens, but here's the gank top.
Yep, it's BLG again, looking to make the first move. Dhokla goes all out, tries to put some pain back into Bin, but there's so much damage, Knight takes him down.
So the push will just continue on that top side for BLG. Viper able to keep the control over mid because you can see Inspired is taking the Dragon while all this is going on. Even the push for Saint on that bottom lane needs to be answered for Bin, but there's that Baron start you were talking about, Flowers.
And this is the thing, because the Dragons were so slow in this game, first Drake not being taken until 12 minutes, it's not like grabbing second Dragon feels like you're really winning the game, but BLG is going after the Baron. LYON still has Saint all the way down to the tier 2 in the bottom lane. They're not even going to try to contest this.
Yeah, they didn't even try. Saint started walking up and the call was like, nope, not even going to try. We don't have our full team here with Dhokla dead. We don't have a front line to try and face check this. Instead, we're just going to look for turret plates on that bottom lane. And I think that is kind of like the big difference that we've seen this year with the Baron is that like teams haven't just been able to get like a one and done on the Baron. It's kind of more of a slow grind where you will get a couple of towers, but maybe not completely blow open the game. And I think that's what LYON are banking on here.
Yep, Baron certainly doesn't have the power that he used to. It's not the, okay, they got it, we have to hold on for dear life to just keep the base intact. But we'll see how much BLG can accomplish with their Red Bull Baron power play. They've got that for the next 2.5 minutes. Unfortunately for them, that's not going to overlap with the Drake timer or anything that kind of guarantees them control over the Rift once that spawns. LYON, though, still only a 2-to-1 Drake count, so not anything to worry a whole lot.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for LYON is going to be trying to hold on to these outer towers because what we've constantly seen is that it's impossible for Berserker to really step up and commit onto these waves. There's maybe a play towards Oz in the bottom side, but yeah, essentially what we're seeing is like Mel just solo being able to push in on this mid wave, whereas Berserker always needs to have kind of Isles in position with him or the Taliyah or like Inspired basically to help him push out this mid wave, which means you're constantly getting the shove that's letting On move around, that's letting vision to be cleared out. That just means that LYON are always petrified of where this gank squad from BLG is, and it may be Saint who may be about to feel it next.
Yep, Saint trying to clear out these Baron-empowered waves, but far easier said than done. Shen and On both hovering in the jungle of LYON. Because they know they have been in the mid lane, they want to be able to join either one of these points of pressure. Isles will step forward to guarantee that Viper and Knight have to take just a step back. Saint seismic shove will not collide with On as Berserker and Dhokla kind of being assigned with bodyguard duty here to make sure they can't just dive after Berserker while he clears these waves.
But there is also some nice like vision in behind BLG there, so potential for Dhokla to look for some sort of TP play if they do overextend. Like you can even see him backing off the vision there.
Isles with the taunt flash, they immediately go in, they found Viper, that is a massive pick. Can LYON get anything else off the back of it? You know they're looking, they're hunting, they want more. Weaver's wall flies in, Saint hops off, they're going after Bin, Inspired on the chase. Not going to fire the Sonic Wave here just yet. Bin forced to flash to escape the LeeSin. Dhokla also still looking for an angle through. Inspired, another Sonic Wave flies out, but he's not going to land that one. They fire the Stand United, hoping that the Sonic Wave would have hit, so that as soon as Inspired jumps in, Isles arrives right on top of him. But since there wasn't quite the distance they needed, they do not get that play. Still, nice pick on a Viper coming out from LYON.
On wants more here, though. We've seen LYON step away.
Yeah, On looking for the opportunity to maybe get a counterplay. Saint is down to 1/3 health and no mana. Dhokla's juggling On around, though, goes all out. And On is all gone. Dhokla picking up another one. BLG trying to get something back. Catch LYON unaware on the retreat, and they may have just done it here. Going after Saint, down to 300 HP, flashes away. Safeguard from Inspired to keep Saint safe.
It doesn't end up committing with that Cataclysm, so Shen just steps away, and it's Saint who lives to fight another day. But BLG now on this mid wave. Again, LYON collapsing in behind. BLG might need this round warm.
Dhokla looking, but remember there's no all out. Harder to make a play here with that KSante. This is a really close game. 26.5 minutes into the game, we don't even have a 1,000 gold difference between the teams.
Yeah, it's incredibly close, and I think you can kind of feel that pressure, especially with the way BLG tried to extend that fight, right? Looking for these quick picks, trying to catch you on these timers that LYON weren't aware of. But, I mean, you heard it in the interview. Inspired was like, this is the thing that we need to be most aware of, and they managed to turn it back, get that kill on towards On, keep themselves safe. The biggest problem for them, though, Knight just completed that actualizer. This Ryze, now very, very strong.
And on the other side, though, I will respond with Berserker has completed. He was kind of building 2 items at the same time. He started building with the Zeal, you remember, after the Infinity Edge, but then he switched over to complete Bloodthirster first, and then now he's completed his Navori Flicker Blades after. So 4 fully completed items on the Tristana. Really scary stuff.
The problem is we're so late in the game, he kind of needs that last Whisper still, right? So
yeah.
Even though he's gone for the Bloodthirster because he's like, well, I'm getting jumped on, I'm getting this Hextech Ultimatum, which is making my life miserable, it means that he's not going to be able to dish out as much damage as he would want to in this sort of situation. So we'll have to see in these upcoming fights what he can do, but that's why he kind of wants the Bloodthirster.
Exactly. That's why you buy BT. You take one of those, the shield eats half of it, you heal up the rest. Saint coming in here, goes for the seismic shove off of the Weaver's wall, forces the flash out of Knight.
Yeah, On, I believe, also spotted on that ward there as he starts to try and make his way around Dragon. LYON, though, honestly, in a front to back like this, I think they're in a good spot. Would love to try and close that distance relatively quickly, but no Weaver's wall might make that tough.
All right, Dragon's already been started. Shen in the pit. Inspired, a little bit injured, but still healthy enough to try to contest this one here for the 50-50. Sonic Wave has already landed. Resonating Strike about to come through. It's going to be secured by Inspired. Neither side fully committing for a fight here just yet. On maybe looking for an angle here with a hook shot. Jumps over the wall, but does not engage. LYON continuing to just disengage this one. They've already got the objective. They're on Soul Point now with an Infernal Rift.
Nice job by LYON to secure that, because I was a bit nervous about their engage. They didn't have that flash on Isles. They had no Weaver's Wall, which meant they were heavily reliant on some magic happening from Inspired to try and start that fight off in their favor. But instead, they get the Dragon, they get away, and set themselves up on Soul Point.
Scary, scary stuff. 2,000 gold lead individually for Berserker. Infernal Soul, so annoying. Yes, you don't have the same poke power as a Jayce and a Mel, but Taliyah can still poke. Long-range Tristana, as you're almost level 18, you can get some long shots there too. This Infernal Soul could be very scary for BLG if they don't have a plan 4 minutes from now.
Yeah, super interesting to see Viper's build though. Went for the Bloodletter's Curse, so basically wanting a little bit more of a bruiser stat line when it comes towards the all-in potential that LYON do have, and while also providing some of that magic shred as well.
For Knight.
Yeah. It's just that, like traditionally you'd see, you know, more of your Abyssal Staffs and that kind of stuff. So, or sorry, Void Staffs. So definitely an interesting build to see.
Well, let's see where we go from here. Again, 4 minutes until that Dragon Soul for LYON will spawn. Baron back on the map, and there really wasn't a whole lot of effect, a whole great efficacy for BLG with that first Baron that they secured. It's kind of exactly what you were talking about. It's just not the same type of super buff that it used to be. So now there is still a mountain of crust on this tier 1 turret in the mid lane for BLG. LYON have not been able to hit this thing in a very, very long time. That turret score remains 3-2 as it was 10 minutes ago when I mentioned BLG taking the turret leads. So neither side has really been able to push forward, make a lot more momentum happen for themselves. But I feel like we're kind of approaching this critical mass, Dagda. This game has been so close for so long. We're going to get one big team fight that really just goes one way or the other, and that's going to decide game 1.
Yeah, I think the big focus here is Baron spawns is that Knight still doesn't have that flash available, whereas basically every other summoner spell is up and available. So definitely going to be a bloodbath when we get into this. It's just a case of can LYON get on towards Knight easily.
And so, interestingly enough, because you already pointed out the lack of armor penetration, the lack of a Last Whisper item for Berserker, still not going for it, goes for the Hex Drinker instead, recognizing the large damage threats of both the Ryze and the Mel. I'm not going to lie, though, if you end up getting engaged on by a Camille and an Actualizer Ryze, I don't know if it's actually going to be enough to help you. Berserker already popping the flash, trying to get himself away as Big Doke's going to get bursted very, very low. Executed by the Golden Eclipse. LYON trying to get away for now as Berserker's in a little bit of danger. Does taunt up Shun, as now the root down onto Inspired. He's in a little bit of danger here. Viper firing back. Inspired looks for a little bit more, but he's going to be knocked out of the Guardian Angel. Now the dive right back onto Sane. Isles and Sane in some danger. Been driven the kill onto Isles. BLG, they're so damn good. LYON are eviscerated 5-0.
It was so close until it wasn't. 5-0. BLG just sent LYON packing in game number 1.
What did I say, Dagda? I said this game has been so close for so long. It's going to come down to one big fight. And for BLG, it won't get any more extreme than a 5-0 that will end this game right here, right now. BLG, 32 minutes in, takes game 1.
It was slow pace in this game with both teams trading back and forth. But at the end of the day, BLG, as you say, they find that fight, just the setup. And where did Dhokla go? He's the tank and just got eviscerated in the middle of it.
He disappeared.